Greetings, hello ladies and gentlemen. I have been terrible with keeping up with reviews lately, but here we are nonetheless, and today we're taking a look at the chonkiest of boys, the absolute unit of the theropods, 2020's Winter Wilson from PNSO. Now first of all, I just have to throw this out there that this guy is ridiculously expensive, like really expensive. And I waited until it got on sale, so I got it for a decent chunk of the price off on Amazon with free shipping, luckily. But I did have to grab this one at some point because I have been in the game for a new, accurate, up-to-date Tyrannosaurus Rex for so long, and this Wilson just flat out delivers. But funny story, before I go in and take a look at this figure, let's have a quick little story time. So here's SpinoDude going out to his mail because he gets a notification from his Amazon app on his phone that Wilson was delivered. I get the package, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, I finally have Winter Wilson. This is the best thing ever. I'm so excited. Bring it in, open up the package, and they sent me Lucio the Amargasaurus. And let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I've never been more disappointed to see an Amargasaurus in my life. But of course, Amazon's return and replacement service is very, very efficient and really easy to work out, so I did get this Wilson in hand just a few days later after sending the Amargasaurus back. So there you go. That was one of the funniest experiences I've ever had with ordering a figure. But anyway, Winter Wilson, the chonkiest of boys. I mean, let's just zoom in and take a look at this one. Just look at the detail first of all. PNSO just has some of my favorite detailing style out of any figure company that's out there at the moment. Their scales are so crisp, there's no smudging whatsoever across the sculpt here. It looks like just a miniaturized maquette from like a museum statue or something. And I actually got to see the exhibit, I think it was T-Rex the Ultimate Predator at the American Museum of Natural History last year. So since then, when I saw the exhibit and I was learning about all the up-to-date T-Rex stuff, I've really been in the mood for a figure like this. So yeah, the scalation detail is really on point here. One thing I do want to point out is on the feet, you do have the bird-like scales running down each of the toes. It is inferred now that theropods would not have had these scales, so that is something that PNSO overlooked when they were making this model, but once again, they're not quite as visible as on some other theropod figures, but they are present. Another thing I wanted to bring up is that this figure is a little bit lighter than what I was expecting for the given size. A little bit more heftiness would have been nice just to make it feel more expensive, because let's be fair, it was expensive. But one good thing about it not being too heavy is also the fact that this guy is in like a horizontal pose. He stands on two legs. No, wait, that's a lie. He doesn't stand on two legs. We'll get to that in a second. But the lighter weight discourages warping over time, which I really appreciate as well. And let's just get right to that actually, because you're probably wondering like, what, why? Of course it's standing on two legs, SpinoDude. Are you nuts? It's a theropod. No, this figure does not stand on two legs. It actually stands on one leg. Call me crazy, look at this. Yes, this Wilson's center of balance is right on its right foot, so this thing can stand on one foot. I gotta say, this thing is pretty amazingly engineered for the pose as far as theropod figures go. But some of you are probably saying, SpinoDude, you're just lucky you have one that actually stands on its leg. Like, what if we get one that doesn't balance at all? That would be terrible. Well, PNSO is about 5 steps ahead of you because they have included a clear little stand that's just 2 pieces. It has a clear base that says PNSO on it and a little posing rod that just sticks right in the top of it, and you can nestle that right under Wilson's chest if stability is a problem for you, or I even just leave it under it anyway, just in case like warping is an issue. I don't see it being a problem because this figure isn't very heavy, but still it could happen in the heat or something, so just the fact that they included that is awesome. I love it so much. PNSO keep doing this. I know they've included it with their other theropods as well, which is just, it's great. Honestly, more companies need to do this with the little clear plastic stands. They really don't add much to the price. Now, one thing I saw going around is some people thought that this Tyrannosaurus was a little bit too chonky, but I can confirm in hand that in comparison to the promo images, it feels just about appropriate in comparison to the new reconstructions that I've seen floating around. It feels like a proper, healthy, thick animal, which I really appreciate. Now let's get a closer look at my favorite part, which is the head sculpt. This head just captures the T-Rex look, like so perfectly in my opinion. But even though it captures the look perfectly, this is not a perfect T-Rex head. And it mainly comes down to that dip in the upper jaw right behind the teeth and in front of the eyes there. It really just dips in too far, and yes, this figure does have an articulated jaw, and if you close the mouth, it really kind of gives more of an Albertosaurine look to the overall skull. It tapers off very quickly at the end, and of course we know Tyrannosaurus had a quite boxy head. It still captures the look overall really well, but it's just so slightly off that it's noticeable. But when you open the jaw, while that divot behind the teeth on the upper jaw is still visible, it looks much better when you have the mouth wide open, showcasing those menacing jaws. Now, speaking of those menacing jaws, the teeth are really nicely sculpted. They're sharp enough, they're not too sharp, but they're also not like little candy corns that are just stuck in the mouth, as a lot of other dinosaur figures do. And the paint on them are really nice as well. Unfortunately, on the bottom jaw on the right side here, you can see there's a bit of black paint from the black wash that was going over the figure on mine, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I could easily touch that up if I felt like it with some cream colored paint or something. The teeth are so small in the bottom jaw anyway, if you look next to my finger there, it's barely noticeable, so not really a huge deal to me. And that's really the only paint mishap that I have on this entire figure. The interior of the mouth is, oh, it's gorgeously sculpted. It is so beautiful. You have like a bright red wash across the whole thing to really bring out the detailing on the inside, which is really cool. And the roof of the mouth has some of the coolest, just kind of gruesome detailing, for lack of a better word there, that you can see. It looks really cool. And yes, you did see me moving the jaw earlier. This figure does have an articulated jaw. Works really well for the most part, except when you go to close it all the way. When you reach a certain point, like right about here, you really have to snap it shut, and it's kind of locks into these divots in the corner of the mouth. You see on the flaps of skin that are holding the jaw together there are these little divots towards the top, and I think there's something that really clicks it into place. Not sure how I feel about that. It could be a lot worse. The jaw could have no friction at all, like some other figures that I have, or it could be way too tight. So I'm not complaining, but it would be nice if it was a much smoother articulation experience going from point A to point B. I like leaving mine with the mouth open anyway, just because it looks so cool like that, but yeah. Also, the eyes on this figure are beautifully done. There's a little bit of red mixed in with the yellow there on the edges, which really gives the eyes a lifelike look, and they have a glossy finish over the top of them too to give them a genuine wet look. Now, I think one thing people are going to be complaining about when they see the head close up is they're going to be like, where are the lips? It should have lips. I need to see lips on my dinosaurs. Now here's the thing, I'm someone who actually draws my theropods with lips most of the time. But since lips are still only a theory for theropods, I'm not going to label a figure as inaccurate just because it depicts a theropod like T-Rex without lips. And I really, really like the scale work that they've done around the snout, especially with the really large scales that lead down into the teeth on the jaw. Looks really, really cool. Anyway, I guess the only other thing I really forgot to talk about is the coloration on this one, and that's because coloration is just really typical. It works, it's natural, it's just very basic, like just kind of overly basic, just brown with some darker stripes for the most part, but it works. The execution is so well done that I have no complaints. Like, I could be sitting here just saying, you know, why didn't you do like the cool design where it's kind of like grayish black with the yellow keratin on the head or whatever, but I really don't care. This thing looks awesome just because of how well the paint job is executed. Alright, and I think that's going to do it for my thoughts on PNSO's 2020 Winter Wilson. Overall, beautiful, beautiful figure. I would recommend it to all of you in a heartbeat if it was cheaper. I think this one is in like the $50 range as far as like maximum worth, but at a base price of like 70 something dollars, you know, if you see it go on sale for between like 40 and 50, definitely grab it. I think it's worth it there. It's so expensive. It's so expensive, and it pains me not to recommend it to you guys, but wait for it to come on sale and then grab it, because it's awesome. It's really awesome. It's like the definitive T-Rex figure right now. And anyway, in case you're wondering how large this one is from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, we are looking at right about 13 inches long, over a foot, which is right about 35 centimeters. And in terms of the highest point, which is the top of the head there, we are looking at just about 4 inches, which is right around 9.5 centimeters. And for comparison, I'm going to start some controversy here with bringing out a Spinosaurus figure, and that is PNSO's new 2020 Essian the Spinosaurus. Putting these two together really does start to bring out the disappointment in the size of the Spinosaurus. I pretty much love everything else about the Spinosaurus. Like, it's just an amazing little figure, but seeing how big Wilson is here, and then seeing how small the Spinosaurus is next to it, I would have loved to have them in scale with each other to display alongside each other, but oh well. They still look pretty cool next to each other on the shelf, although I actually don't have them next to each other, so yeah. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this review of PNSO's 2020 Winter Wilson, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Definitely the definitive Tyrannosaurus Rex figure on the market right now, in my opinion. Like I said, if it goes on sale, grab it while you can, but I do not recommend getting it at its current price. I just do not think it's worth that much money. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all in my next video. So take care, and bye-bye.